Oh, it's been a long time, and it feels good to say welcome back to the podcast. Derek's not here. Derek's job is incredibly busy. I like to think my job is busy, but Derek is busy, busy. He drives all over the state selling roofing stuff. So I like to think that he just sells shingles, but I know there's more to it than shingles. But I am back. Welcome to Saber Golf Podcast, where we talk about golf and things. I'm Dominic. Like I said, Derek's not here. However, it's not just me talking for an hour, thank God. 'Cause I don't think I could do it. But we want to welcome Tyler from Forelinks Golf.
Yes.
And I don't remember how I stumbled upon Forelinks Golf. I think it was one of those nights where I'm like scrolling through reels and
Okay.
one popped up, and I think it was you talking about donating proceeds to Youth on Course,
Mm,
which we'll talk about. But
for sure.
welcome, Tyler. Your gloves are great. I have not used it because it is so cold in Minnesota that we still have snow on the ground and courses won't be open probably for another few months.
Ooh.
If we're lucky to open in April. I don't think we're gonna be that lucky though, to be honest. So I'm looking more forward to May than anything, but I'm excited to learn more about Four Links, what you have in store. You said that you're going to talk about um, stuff this summer. I'm excited to hear about that, the different lines, but
Yeah.
uh, happy holidays since it's now February. And last time we spoke, I think it was December. Might have been before December,
It might be like November, maybe late October. I remember
maybe.
we had a good conversation, but it felt a couple months ago. Time flies when you're busy and having fun. But
Oh, it's crazy.
it
But
is.
let's learn about Four Links. I'm excited. Obviously, I've heard a little bit of the story already just from prior conversations, but um, can you kind of tell me how you got the idea for a glove company versus like an apparel company, a hat company, stuff like that?
Sure. And that's actually a good question. So I started Forelinks Golf back in 2023, and before selling gloves, we actually started as a clothing brand. So I started Forelinks Golf as a clothing brand back in 2023. And after about a year, though, I realized I was never really into clothing, nor I knew how to design clothing for golf apparel, that I decided to just drop it. And alongside my full-time job at my corporate job and for links, I also work at the golf course every Sunday morning, which is about 15 minutes away from me and where I kind of grew up playing golf when I started back when I was 13 years old. And when I was working behind the counter, I've noticed that golf gloves were a very high demanded product. I think it was the second most sold item in the shop coming after golf balls. So I love the demand side of it. And then I also saw that golf gloves were, consumable. And I knew that if you can create a good glove from the beginning, there's a good chance people might come back when they realize that their glove needs to be replaced. And with my experience, just working with manufacturers, I thought if I work closely with one, I can possibly create a glove that golfers can feel confident. And what I mean by that experience, so before I started Four Links, I used to do a lot of e-com stuff when I was in college. You might have heard like drop shipping stuff like that.
Hmm.
I did a lot of that during college when I was kind of YouTubing how to make money online, etc. And with drop shipping though is that when you're not really passionate about what you sell or the industry that you're in, you'll never find real success. So I thought after doing the drop shipping thing, I wanted to create a golf brand because to combine my love and passion for golf with my entrepreneurial mindset, I thought that I could possibly get somewhere with it, and I'm glad I kind of chose that decision to start the golf brand because nowadays when I close my 9 to 5 laptop and work straight to the four link stuff, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like I'm trying to build something just out of passion and out of love for it. So we had I would say, a pretty bright 2025 last year, and this year is just kind of keep pushing that momentum and traction and see where we go from there.
I mean, I you got to give it up to those guys that do design the clothing.
They do, yeah.
The
Hmm.
shirts, whatever. Like obviously I'm always repping my dude Maddie with Pare. Uh that like, I'm always wearing Pare. I wear a lot of looking at my closet, a lot of like Buena Gente gear. Donald Buena Gente is a genius. If you've never looked into him, it's all Latino culture and it's all like what he likes. So Buena Gente is great. I gotta give up to my dudes at Four Bros. They're out in Arizona and they
Mm,
do strictly apparel. They do
yeah.
dabble in the gloves though, and they put out a good glove.
Yeah.
and I think it's good for the price. And that's not a knock on John and Trevor because I know they're gonna listen, and then they're gonna be like, Dom said this. I'm not saying it's a bad glove, guys. Um, but it is something to say. It's a good glove for the price, but when somebody like you specifically does one product and puts their entire design process and all these different things into one product, it really does show just how far a glove can take you. Um, because you're absolutely right. When somebody finds a glove they like, they're going to stick with it for
Right.
kind of the rest
Mhm.
of their life, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we see it with cars, we see it with cell phones, we see
Hmm.
it with, I mean, God, I'm in the running industry, and we see it with running shoes. Like people
Yeah.
are brand like specific,
Right.
um, where it's like, oh man, I had a great experience with Brooks. We're gonna go with Brooks forever. So,
Yeah.
even in golf, right? You find, that one golf ball you love, and now you're
Mhm.
stocking up on that same golf ball forever. Um, it makes sense to do it as a glove, and I never thought of it that way until you kind of said it, you know. Um, I think that's great. I could never design a glove. I wouldn't even know where to start. And we're gonna pick your brain on that. Not that I'm gonna start glove designing, but I think it is interesting. Um, so when you were designing apparel and you're like, ah, this isn't for me,
Hmm.
what made you go and say, hey, I could make a glove better than XYZ, other than you saw I guess I don't know how to word what you saw other
Yeah.
than like the business behind it. I
Yeah.
like that you said that they are disposable because we all have that
Hmm.
buddy who has the same glove for like 7 years and it looks mangled. They're disgusting. It's
Right.
hard. Um, what made you make that switch? Because to me, it's not an entirely different switch,
Hmm.
but it's not one that I would have thought of going from an apparel to, hey, I can make a glove.
Right. That's a good question. I think, when it comes to my decision to making golf gloves, one of it, I mean, some of it obviously was the demand part of it, the consumability, the customer attention. But what kind of solidified or confirmed that I wanted to sell golf gloves back, I think over a year and a half ago now, after the switch from going from apparel, is that I saw that golf gloves are kind of overlooked as more as like an accessory, not as an equipment. But your hands are like the most important part when it comes to um, gripping a club and finding that feel and connection. So I knew that if I can create a glove that golfers can feel confident wearing, there's a good chance I can find success into it. So that kind of what made me want to start selling gloves. Not more so like the complexity um, of designing it, but more so finding a glove, finding the right materials, and creating the right fit in order to make that glove that gives that golfers that confidence. So in the beginning, the story with, me starting golf clubs was actually we started with the bag glove. It was kind of continuing on how I used to manufacture or find products and sell it was through Alibaba. So when I was kind of selling clothes at the time, I sourced everything through Alibaba, just kind of scrolling through manufacturers, talking to the ones that get back to my messages. So I was doing that with the golf gloves and just kind of more so just white labeling them and then trying to hopefully that uh you know and I kind of knew from the get-go that these gloves weren't the best quality because of the pricing they were giving me, but I was hoping that marketing and storytelling can save it and and that it can be shown as a good product. But the truth is no amount of storytelling or marketing can save a bad product. So once I kind of realized after making my first order of those Alibaba gloves, I knew that if I really want to take this brand anywhere, I have to kind of first start with the product. That's the most important thing. So at the time, I was kind of just doing a lot of research, doing a lot of reading, and I stumbled upon my favorite book that I would say right now is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, and him talking about his story of, going to Japan and sourcing or sourcing Japanese shoes and stuff like that and working closely with them. It kind of inspired me to kind of do the same by, working closely with the manufacturer in Indonesia. And how I landed on Indonesia is that one day when I was kind of looking at all my competitor gloves, like from Tyler's and FootJoy and TaylorMade, I saw from the tag that all gloves were made from Indonesia. So I thought that was a good starting point. So that same night, I literally just went on Google, typed in golf glove manufacturers in Indonesia, and I probably found about maybe 30 manufacturers, and I messaged about all of them, and only two got back to me. And I think the main reason why only two got back to me is because they have really high MOQs. I think you have to order like at least 5,000 gloves to start with. These two manufacturers happen to have an MOQ of 2000 gloves, which was kind of still high for my starting point when I was kind of doing this golf glove stuff in the beginning. But I thought if I maybe came to them and create that relationship with them and build that rapport, that hopefully I can kind of weasel my in and see if they can lower that MOQ just to, after they kind of see my personality. So I just took the chance. I actually told them like, hey, I would love to work with you, but how can we do this in person? Would you be okay if I came to you and we can discuss together at a in a room together at a table and discuss about what I'm trying to look for when it comes to creating a glove? And they're like, sure, Tyler, we'd be more than happy, for you to come, and we'll pick you up from your hotel, and we'll treat you out for sure, and show you the whole factory and everything. So literally after, I think 2 or 3 weeks after reading Shoe Dog, booked a flight to Indonesia, and then came there, didn't know what I was doing, or in terms of like, I can't believe I'm actually traveling across the world just to make golf gloves, and I get to the hotel. Next thing you know, next day we meet the manufacturer, and then we kind of just hit off just like that. I think what was the funniest part is that when they were kind of picking me up from the hotel, um, I was calling them like, "Hey, I'm at the front," and they're like, "Oh, I'm at the front too. I don't see you." And I was like, "Oh, is that you right in front?" I was like, "Oh, she was just literally just standing there because she thought I was like some 4-year-old dude or like
Hmm.
just an older fella." And then she sees this kid just walking up, which is not the best first impression because obviously when you work with people, you want to work with people who are a little older than yourself or older and because of experience. But I thought that was really funny because they thought I was like some 4-year-old middle-aged man just wanting to start a golf club company, but when they see me, it's just this kid. And I thought it was kind of hysterical when they kind of realized that because they admitted it. But again, overall, it was a good experience. We got to kind of go to the factory, and the first thing that we did was kind of just pick the materials on what we want to use for the glove. And we found the right leather that I was looking for, and then we went into basically the design portion of it. When it came to the designing of the glove, it wasn't more so um, trying to find what the look of the glove should be, but more so about the fitment of it, right? We wanted to create a glove that was snug, but fit like a second skin where, it doesn't feel like there's any circulation restricting from it, from like it being too tight. And this is kind of what we came up with.
So I guess I've never looked at my hands and said, wow, equipment. And then I've never looked at a glove and said, wow, equipment. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. And I think as consumers, we're trained to look at it and say accessory because when you go on whatever website and you look for gloves, it's always under accessory.
Yeah.
When you and I both know we can play golf without a glove, but it is dramatically harder and dramatically less fun to play golf without a glove.
Yeah, it's that you're missing that feel, that connection, and I feel like a glove provides it. Obviously, there are some players, like Fred Couples, who never play with a glove and they do fine. But I would say about 9 out of 10 golfers kind of they can play golf without a glove, but they need that glove just for that extra feel and that extra confidence and that connection. And I feel like having a good fitting glove is a good starting point to make sure that, it delivers what it's supposed to deliver on.
It's just like baseball players, right? Like most of them now wear batting gloves, whether it's
Mhm.
one glove or two gloves. Um, and then there's like a handful of like the older vets who are like,
Yeah,
they're out there, no glove, rubbing
yeah,
dirt on their hands to get the grip.
right.
But no, you're absolutely right. You do need a glove. For me, it kind of fills that. I think you said it really well. It's like an added connection piece. It makes me feel
Mhm.
like I'm not going to throw my club 40 yards, which is a great feeling.
Right.
Um, I have my glove right here. I took it out of the box. I tried to not to make a lot of noise, even though I'm sure I did because the microphone's
Mhm.
super sensitive. But the best way I can describe the glove is it's soft but sticky. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, tacky. Kind of like
tacky.
tacky. Yeah, tacky.
That's the better word because sticky makes it sound cheap, right? I promise I'm not trying to make it sound cheap. Um, but when I'm picky with gloves, I think we talked about this.
We did, yeah.
Um, I like a glove that kind of forms to my hand, and I like one that isn't super baggy around the wrist because I normally have a watch on,
Yeah,
and then it kind of gets all over, and I'm always taking my glove on and off, and
sure.
um, for me, it's tight right here, but in a good way because I know it's gonna break in and it's gonna feel custom. And for those of you who like to listen to me and not watch me, which is perfectly fine by me, um, the glove fits me great. I'm always like a medium large. I don't have big hands, but my hands aren't small.
Yeah,
Um, I like the way it fits, and I'm excited to go out and swing with it. Um, just because it, like I said, it's cold in Minnesota. I don't think people
sure.
understand that it's freezing, although now we're all over the news, so people see how cold it is here. Um, it fits me really great. And that's coming from somebody who I used to live in the G4 gloves. Like to me, like
Yeah,
that was one of like the top gloves on the market. Um,
I think it
and then
still
when the
is.
guy,
Yeah.
what was that?
I think the G4 is still a pretty top glove. I mean, I've tried it before and it's a great glove. Yeah.
So for me, what made me decide that is I've had the plain white ones, and then
Mhm.
whenever you dye it any kind of color, it changes the like the texture of the leather, and it'll change kind of how it wears and everything. And that's the same with
Mm.
anything. Like people always ask, um, like why is my running shoe the midsole always white? Well, when you add
Yeah,
paint to that, it'll firm up the sole and it changes the like the durometer of the shoe.
I see.
Little pro tip for you. So it happens with gloves and stuff too.
Mm.
Um, but theirs didn't change and it stayed the same. So I was like, they're onto something. Um, I'm excited for this, and I'm not saying that because you're here. I was geeking
Mhm.
out to Derek about it. I think it's a really great product. I mean, even the Velcro, like that's a good sounding Velcro.
Thank you.
And for me, I work for Brooks, but before that, I was always selling stuff in a store.
Yeah,
And consumerism is changing more than people think. People are wanting, um, like you're saying, there's always a story with a product, but no matter how bad the product is, that story will never overcome the quality of the product. People
true.
want the story, and then people want the product to be high end. We look at the Super Bowl that just happened, the halftime show. That Bunny told a story about
He
Puerto
did.
Rico. He told his story, he told the Latino culture story, and I know my friends listening are thrilled that I'm talking about it. Um, and then his product was the music, and the music stood up just as well as the story did, and that's why it was one of the top viewed Super Bowls ever.
Yeah,
I think the numbers just came back and it's like fourth, which 4 out of 60 or however many halftime shows there have been is
yeah,
pretty damn good.
that is good.
Um, and I'm not trying to make it political by any means. Um, but there has to be a story with the product. So you hit
Agree.
the nail on the head. The glove feels great. It's tacky but soft. Um, I've never been a fan of the FootJoy or the Titleist gloves, mainly because I don't like how they would do the black nylon. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
kind of feels like they skimmed out, or like that's how they cut costs, but then would still charge you as much as like a full Thread leather glove.
yeah,
Um, And then another part of your glove that I like more than a lot of people's is the double stitch palm with the extra piece of leather. Like it feels thicker. So we all
right.
know what rips first.
It's the palm area.
It's the palm.
Yeah.
So you kind of hit the nail on the head with this. And for somebody your age, because I believe you're younger than me, you you're doing things, my
Thank
friend.
you.
You're doing
Appreciate
things.
it, Dom.
And I'm excited to kind of learn more about the story of the glove. Um, so when you were designing it, what were kind of your things that you said, hey, my glove has to have this?
I think when it came to designing, the most important part for me was just the fitment of it.
Hmm.
So growing up, my favorite glove I used to play all the time was the Titleist Players, which was another Cabretta leather glove. And I love how thin and soft it was. But then what I realized is that with the fingers, around the fingers and the thumb, it kind of, stood like it kind of sticked out a bit. I'm not sure if that was just like maybe just how the glove was designed, but I like stuff that kind of just feels like it was meant for just my hand. Like it just kind of like just wrapped around my hand. So when I told the manufacturer that, right, they were kind of talking about how gloves are kind of cut. and they use cutting dies, which is kind of like a stamp where it's like it's shaped like a glove, and they use a compression and they push it down, right? So it's very important that when you use these cutting dies, that they're high quality, that they're, the steel around the edges is sharp, so that each cut can be very precise and consistent. Um, so when they kind of told me about that, I just, I told them like, hey, that's what I want is a glove that kind of fits snugs around the fingers. So the result was just using a high quality cutting die. And then when it came to being different with my gloves, I would say since the Titleist glove was so thin, which was what makes it feels great, I wanted to create a glove a little thicker. Not to get too technical here, but I believe a Titleist glove thickness for their player's glove is anywhere from like 0.40 to 0.45 millimeters. We shape our leather at 0.50 millimeters, which is slightly a little thicker than the player's glove, but still thin enough to feel like a second skin. Um, so you can say in technicality, our gloves should last longer because they are thicker. But that's just kind of our way of differentiating ourselves of what makes our gloves different from the competitors. Um, and yeah,
So I guess I never knew that gloves had certain thicknesses.
yeah,
Um, so please do get technical because I enjoy that stuff. I think it's interesting. Um, I'm a big fan of like little technical features in kind of everyday objects, whether it's,
sure.
an equipment piece, one of my billion pairs of shoes,
Hmm.
whatever, right? There's always something little bit different about every one. Um, and just like you, I like that kind of it to feel like, hey, this glove was made for me. That's why I don't mind it being a little snug along kind of my knuckles. Because I
Yeah,
know as I wear it throughout the day, as I swing, it's going to kind of mold, it's going to form to my hand. And then the next time I wear it, it's going to be exactly what I'm looking for. It's
sure.
just like a nice pair of leather shoes, right? The first time you put
Right.
it on, they're a little wonky.
A
And
little
then by
stiff.
the time like 3 or 4, you're like, wow, these are like the best shoes I've ever put on.
Yeah, they like kind of mold to your feet, and that's like the beauty of leather is that the more you wear it and the more you use it, it kind of tends to age well, you can say. Yeah, that's the perk of using high quality leather. Mhm.
Exactly. I mean, you could make these, as cheap as you wanted to, and I'm sure you'd sell them because people would be like, oh, you get a ton of them and people would like them. But there's something to say about, hey, I want to put out a quality product that is still affordable, that will still do the job for your everyday golfer.
Sure.
Um, so going back to you going out there and traveling, um,
Mhm.
how many different iterations were there before you got to the final cab soft that is now online?
I would probably say we had about two real samples before we finalized it. It wasn't too much of going back and forth on sampling. I was in Indonesia for about a week and a half, and when they were made, so when I arrived there, I kind of had the sample built out for me from what we kind of discussed beforehand. And then I noticed a little bit of some flaws, like for example, like we were mentioning, the cuff on the bottom was a little wide. I like mine a little tapered for people like, for example, who wear watches too, that doesn't want to get snuck onto the glove. The Velcro strap was also not so strong in the first sample. But the one thing they really nailed was just the overall fitment. Before I even discuss about, the fingers being wanting to be snug, that's what they kind of dialed in. So after kind of iterating what I just kind of mentioned to them about those two things, we kind of made another sample within, they were quick. It's like I think less than a day. So the next day they called me in while I was still on over in Indonesia, and they told me that hey, we finally got we got that new sample in for you. You can go ahead and take a look at it. And the first time when I tried it on, it felt great. So then luckily there was a course. Actually, there's only one course in the city I went to, but it was about 20 minutes away. Played around there, played 18 holes in it, and it felt great. And that's when I kind of decided, okay, this is gonna be the one. And we just kind of did a little bit of other little details that wasn't big deal, but otherwise, I think the second time we got the sample, that's when we kind of realized this is the one.
How cool is it to go out and play golf in a sample of something that you designed, that you made, and that was your kind of idea? Is that like one of those like surreal feelings where you're playing and you look down at your hand and you're like, I made this, or you didn't make it, but you look down and you're like, this is my idea, and it's
Yeah,
a real thing.
it feels good because again, I think the whole journey of just kind of going there was a big step for me. I've never traveled alone by myself, and my parents were also scared for me too because I'm pretty clumsy sometimes, so I don't really pay attention where I go. And but I just knew that I was excited to build something of something similar to this, and when I made that decision to finally actually go there and actually having the product in hand and at the golf course, yeah, you're right. It was a surreal feeling. It's like I hope that when I look back, 5 years later, I look back like I really glad that I made the decision to, really get out there and really try something new and have an experience out of it too. So it was a great moment to kind of feel at the time, you can say.
Yeah, no, we used to, and I say used to because we're taking a break from it, but we used to throw events in different states. So we did two in
Cool.
California, we did one in Minnesota, and the last one we did was it was in SoCal in June of last year. And that was the third one we did. And after every event, we look back and we're always like, guys, like, we did this. Like,
Yeah.
this is a year's worth of planning. It's a year worth of Dom bugging everybody he can know under the sun to donate. And it's always one of those feelings that, you see everybody smile at the end of the round or during their round.
Yeah.
You're like, God, it feels good, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, God, you work so hard for it. And then the day comes. So in our case, the day came for everybody to show up, fly and play golf.
Hmm.
And it's just one of those feelings where you're like, God, they're here to support us and they're here
Yeah.
for us. They're here for the event.
Hmm.
Even when we did the last one in SoCal, we had people from Minnesota who played in our Minnesota
Yeah.
event have so much fun, and they flew out to SoCal to play with us in that
Sure.
event. And that's what I could think of, if I made a product and I look down at it and I'm like, I made this. Like this is in my jumbled, convoluted brain, it worked enough for me to design something that is now useful and everybody else could wear.
Yeah.
And I didn't design the glove. I had no say in it. I had no part in it. You didn't know who I was. But I look at it and now after talking to you, I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm kind of proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
I think it takes a lot for you to, take that step and be like, hey, you could do it on Alibaba. That'd be fine. And nobody would knock you anything because I think that's where a lot of companies do start. And it's a great way to start a company because it is
Yeah.
cheaper. But like you
It
said, you
is.
have to have so many um, pieces ordered at a time, which is why Derek and I have never done Safe Power Apparel.
Yeah.
Because of, hey, we have to have storage, you have to have a website.
Very true.
Um, but it does say something, be like, hey, I'm going to reach out to these companies, the people who design XYZ gloves, and just see what they say. And then you got on that plane, you took that long ass plane ride over to Indonesia,
Yeah.
and now we have a glove. Like it's so surreal to think about how like that's how products are made. You had mentioned earlier that there's going to be a new line for the summer.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of touch on that without giving too much away?
Sure. Yeah. So we've been selling the caps off, which is our only product, or our only glove for like over a year now. And I've been always wanting to kind of release new things just to kind of expand the catalog. But my main focus was to kind of expand the golf glove catalog, not just the overall. I feel like my head was kind of maneuvering over to maybe I should sell apparel or maybe I should sell or head covers and stuff like that. But I want to expand on the line of the gloves because I hope that in 5 years, I know this might sound very optimistic, but I hope that in 5 years, when people think of golf gloves, they can hopefully think of four links. Just kind of how like when you think of burgers, you think of McDonald's, you think of coffee, you might think of Starbucks, you think of running shoes, you think of Nike. I want people to think of golf gloves, or when they think of golf gloves, they can think of four links. Um, so it was kind of more so an experience I had on myself, and I think a lot of people can relate. But you know how like when you are at the driving range, obviously hitting 150 balls in a row is nothing like hitting 87 or hitting 60 shots on the golf course because within those 150 shots, your glove is not breathing. But on a course, you let it air out, you take it off when you putt. So the glove, especially a Cabretta leather glove, will wear out a lot quicker. So I wanted to kind of find a way to give golfers an option to rotate their gloves while preserving their caps off. And some people and some of my customers, they actually end up, they buy two or three gloves. Two is kind of more ideal. It's like one glove for the driving range and one glove for the course. But I thought it would be a great idea to create a glove specifically made for the driver range and market towards it. I'm pretty sure there are, a lot of golf clubs out there that are durable or that made for durability. But there's not one that I felt that, had that feel of a Cabrera leather glove because the alternative or the backup or the other glove compared to a Cabrera leather glove is synthetic, which is made of, fibers of whether that's microfiber, it can be made of nylon, etc. But they don't have that feel that a Cabrera leather glove has. And that's actually something that I experienced when I was kind of doing some prototypes and samples of this new driver range glove. We went the synthetic route because of the durability. But it's kind of like when you go to hit the driver range before your round and you hit off a mat, and next thing you know, you go on the course with real grass, it doesn't feel the same. Like, your chunk on the driver range is not the same as the chunk on the fairway. Just like when you wear a synthetic glove and then switch over to Cabrera, it just doesn't feel the same. So our first prototype of that driver range glove didn't work out so well because of that feel, and it's something I just didn't really enjoy. So I thought, why not create the glove just like the caps off, but find ways to just improve it and make it more longer lasting. And that's just kind of going from square one. With the caps off, what we did differently compared to our competitor gloves is that we made our leather just slightly a little thicker. But why not make it just a tad more thicker and add padding around the areas that matter more, like the palm, the thumb area, and then give it more breathability, which is like maybe more perforations behind the fingers, not just the front, and then create that. So that's the sample that we got going on currently, and I have it kind of being made right now with the manufacturer, and hopefully it can be here within 2 weeks. And then if that goes well, then we hopefully we're trying to aim for May or June of summer to debut it. But yeah, that's kind of what we're working on is creating a glove that golfers can kind of rotate on and off for the course and the driving range, and giving them that ability to have a glove that is made specifically for the driving range.
So one, I've never thought of having my glove breathe at the driving range. I never once was like, oh man, I should do that. I never thought of that. I never knew that was a thing. So
Yeah,
thank you for teaching me something. Um, I also never go to driving ranges. That's kind of my weird quirk with golf is I don't go to driving ranges. I had a conversation with my buddy the other day,
yeah,
actually on Sunday. Um, I would rather I'd rather pay an extra $5 and play 9 holes
hmm
versus saving $5 and hitting golf balls off of a mat and not really having an execution plan. You know what I mean?
I can understand
Because
that. Yeah,
people go to the range and they just mindlessly hit balls. And I'm sure,
yeah,
you see them on Instagram where it's like, I'm going to go to the range and work on this, this, and this. And then the next slide is them hitting driver 150 times versus, working on XYZ.
yeah,
So that's why I'll go play like an executive course or whatever.
yeah,
Um, and two, a driving range glove is genius. I've never heard of such a thing. But
yeah.
when you were talking, I kept thinking, up until semi recently, and correct me if I'm wrong, you always had to pick between, wow, I want a durable glove or I want a good feeling glove. And it's kind of
Exactly.
been the last like 5 or 6 years where that has started to kind of change, where it's like, okay, cool, now I can have both. And I guess if you can make a really high durable glove feel just like the Capsoft, it kind of fits into that little ecosystem really, really well.
Yeah. hmm
And it's kind of like, you're talking about Phil Knight with Nike, generally with runners, and Derek is training for a marathon right now. So I'm having all these conversations with him as well. Um, there's always a shoe that they train in, and then there's a shoe that they race in.
hmm
So generally, those two shoes feel pretty similar. That way, you know how the shoe's going to react at mile 1 and mile 10 because you
Yeah.
already know what you're getting. You know how your body's going to feel. You know all these different things.
Right.
It would make sense for your golf glove to feel the same because golf is one of those sports where I feel like there's all these little rituals that people do, kind of
Sure.
regardless of if they actually think about it or not.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you're a baseball guy. Um,
I'm not. But
Okay. So back in the day, my favorite player growing up was Nomar Garcia Parra, and
sure.
he played for the Red Sox when I was a fan of him back in the day. So when we're done, Google or go on YouTube, Nomar Garcia Parra, batting gloves. He has this little ritual. Every ball thrown, he undoes his glove, does it 3 times, whatever,
Okay.
kicks his feet. Every pitch, he does this.
Hmm.
And in basketball, I know you and I talked about basketball, and that's kind of how
Yeah.
we bonded a little bit.
Yeah.
Guys have the little free throw routines, right?
Yeah.
They dribble 3 times, whatever, they spin it and they
Or
shoot it.
spinach. Yeah.
It's golfers do that too, and they don't, it doesn't correlate with them all the time for some reason. I mean, we see it with certain guys in their swings, like Scotty with his weird foot thing, or Matthew Wolf with his weird little dip and then swing
Yeah.
for the timing. But I've never looked at my golf equipment and was like, wow, this should be the same every time. I
Right.
say all that because I hope that people listening kind of have that light bulb go off as well,
Yeah.
where you can correlate different sports to golf and still have it make sense.
Hmm.
You're not being a baseball guy, that's fine. But you know damn well NBA players are superstitious and NFL players are superstitious and golfers are superstitious. So
Hmm.
you're kind of hitting all the nails on the head, and I'm excited for that glove to come out, and then I might actually go to the range.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. I think our main focus with the driver range glove is just all about feel though.
Right.
Like I said, our first prototype with that driver range glove that we try to create, it was a durable glove at the end of the day. It just didn't feel as good as the caps off. And again, when you go straight from the drive range to your, 5 o'clock tee time, you're gonna feel, oh, that doesn't feel right. Like that difference. Um, so that's kind of our main goal is just to create a glove that feels good and that again gives that golfers that confidence whether they're at the drive range or whether they're at the on the first tee box. So we'll see how it goes. I usually do a bunch of updates on my socials. I even talked about our first prototype drive range glove just being a bust and just being transparent with it. And I believe that's kind of what builds that trust with my brand and my audience is that just being transparent and authentic about what you're building and talking about not only your W's but your L's too. And I think people would kind of relate to it that this is not an easy job or like there's always going to be challenges, especially when it comes to building a brand or building a business. So I believe showing that is natural and it can be very organic and hopefully reach an audience that cares about these type of little craftsmanship and details that we put into the gloves.
Yeah, success isn't overnight.
Oh
And
yeah.
the people that are successful overnight are generally the people that fizzle out and then you'd never hear from again, right? Like those people that blow up on
Mhm.
social media
Yeah.
and then they're gone in 2 or 3 months. More power to them, they got their views, whatever, and then they're
Yeah.
gone. That's something, I don't speak for Derek ever because Derek has his voice. I don't want to take his voice away, but he and I have had conversations about it, like do we want the podcast to blow up overnight? And he and I were both like, no. We want the slow burn. We want the grind. We want people to grow with us.
Yeah.
And we want people to go, wow, Dom is the exact same person he is in person as he is online. And for the most part, that's what it is. Without Derek here, it's a little bit more chaotic for me. I kind of go on and on and on and ramble. And that's kind of how I am in my day-to-day life too. And, you know, I don't think we've had too many L's other than just wanting to kind of be further along at this point and being burned out. But
Yeah.
um, we also lost followers because we issued a statement on what's going on here in our home and we don't agree
Yeah.
with it. And it quite honestly sucks to wake up every morning and watch it. Um, but that's who we are. That's who we are as people and being the most authentic you can be is going to make your brand grow and blossom. Um, one of my favorite artists, like not musical or anything, is Daniel Arsham. He does like modern, to me, he's like a modern contemporary artist. I don't know if
Okay.
you know his work or anything,
I'm
but
not too familiar, but
look him up. His work is
okay.
insane. If you like crystals and like erosion,
Sure.
yeah, he kind of looks at things through like a dystopian lens. It's wild. And then he's colorblind on top of it, and it's
Hmm.
gorgeous work.
That's really
Um,
good.
but I just pre-ordered his book, and I'm not a huge reader unless people send me books.
Sure.
Um, but his new book is about his losses in art and about how he's overcome all those losses to become this world-renowned artist. And he worked with the Nets for a while when they were doing the New Jerseys. He was like head of, or was it Cleveland? He worked with some NBA team when they were doing all the fun jerseys for a little bit. He like
Okay.
designed one for a team. I think it was Cleveland hired
Cool.
him.
Has
And to me, like that means so much more hearing about your losses versus, wow, I won today. I won today. I won today. You're not going to win every day.
no.
That's such a bad mindset to have. Like, yeah, you may have little wins every day, but you're going to lose. And losing's how you learn, right? Like that's how it works, right? Like you had two prototypes and then you hit gold on the third. If you stop at the second, you'll never find, it's I enjoy hearing people's losses, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It means that you care about your product and you're trying to learn from it. Um, but one of my favorite things about what you're doing is for every glove purchased, $2 goes to youth on course.
That's true.
And I know it's true because I read
Yeah.
it. And Youth on Course is one of those organizations that I think is doing so much great work and they do not get enough credit.
Okay.
Because right now people keep saying shrink the game, shrink the game. It's already so expensive, shrink the game.
Yeah,
But the way sports grow and the way sports are sustainable is you got to get these younger kids into the game.
I agree.
Um, Derek and I love Youth on Course because of that reason, and we get to see them every day. We play or every year we play like the media day for the 3M Open. They're always right there. They're always happy to see
Yeah.
us. We hit their little wedge in, and then they tell us about knowledge or whatever if we actually make it in the hole. I never do, but it's always fun.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell me why Youth on Course is such a big, I don't, maybe inspiration to you, but why they're such a big part of Four Links and why you chose them to donate to for every purchase?
Absolutely. I really believe that without youth on course, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be talking, with you today. It allowed me to continue the game I loved growing up without any financial barriers from my parents. So I started playing golf when I was 13 years old, or taking started taking it seriously when I was 13 years old, and I'm 26 now. And looking back, I remember when I first started, it was a little difficult for my dad to, pay for every single round. And as a kid, when you get hooked onto something, you want to keep doing it, keep playing. For me, it was golf. And at a point where the rounds were getting too expensive, like 20, $40, I had to go to the driving range. And when you keep doing that every single day too, it gets more expensive. And it wasn't until one day I can't remember who introduced me to youth on course, but it was definitely one of my friends that I met on the course, another junior golfer, and that's when it kind of changed the whole game for me. I was now be able to play golf for $5 or less. It was so cheap at the point where my mom had like these water barrels of coins that she just collected over decades or years, you can say, and she actually took a whole day just spilling all the coins on the floor and just kind of rolling them in that equates to $5 or a dollar or $2. And I was using that to pay for my rounds. I was literally using coins to pay for my rounds. And so that's kind of how the whole story of Youth on Course started. And it wasn't until of early 2025 that I decided to give back to Youth on Course because I wanted to give my customers a reason to purchase with purpose. You can say I was really inspired by brands like Tom's Shoes and Bomba Socks, giving people a good feeling when they actually buy a product. They're not just only investing into a good product, but they're investing into people who, is what their mission is about, the brand's mission is about. And for me to get back to Youth on Course, uh, I think I'm is probably one of the better reasons on why I'm able to sleep well at night because I'm very proud to say that since we started back in this give back campaign back in June of 2025, we were able to donate from June to December over $13,000 to Youth on Course, which
Wow.
helped subsidize over 1,700 rounds of golf for kids across the country. So it's a great feeling. And then this year we have obviously a bigger goal. Last year we did 17,000. Hopefully this year with the track that we're going, we can reach at least our goal is $50,000 donated this year. Again, it's a little high up there, but we believe with the traction that we received in the last, 8 months, we have the good chance of doing it. And I also have to kind of give a big shout out to the reason of how we were able to donate that amount from last year was a big shout out to My Golf Spy. They helped a lot with building us credibility. I just recently made a video about it on social media on how we even got discovered on My Golf Spy, and it was all organic as well too. They just kind of stumbled upon a reel on Instagram and they liked it and they gave me a follow back. And next day I asked like, hey, thank you so much for the follow. I was wondering if you can give me I was wondering if I can send you some gloves, and I sent them some gloves. But instead of just packing my gloves, I wanted to pack a story. So we kind of talked about our give back campaign through Youth on Course. We also included the original glove that we started with, the Alibaba glove, and putting a note on it saying, "Hey, you'll find this extra glove, but don't judge us by this one." It was the reason why we included because we want to show how far we come to improve and that we're not afraid to show where we started. And they love that idea, that concept, and 2 weeks later, they connect me with a writer and they wrote an article about it. And they happened to mention Youth on Course as well. For every glove that we sell, we donate $2 back. So they had a huge contribution to our success in our donation of last year. And hopefully we can carry on that momentum in 2026. But there's a good old saying I like to live by is that it is harder to stay on top than it is to make the climb. So you have to constantly just keep making new goals for yourself and keep doing things differently and exciting your audience and see where it can get you.
And it's not just exciting your audience. You have to keep growing and you have to keep
Mhm.
wanting that excitement, right?
Yeah.
You could like I mean, like you said earlier, you could stay with just one glove and then just like do a bunch of different colors and nobody would bat an eye.
Hmm.
But that didn't excite you. You wanted to create a driving range glove. Or, we talked a little bit before, you also came out with the glove holder.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what the actual technical term is. I've always called them glove holders.
Yeah.
Um, the little book things.
Yeah.
Um, there's an element of, you hit the nail on the head. The audience has to be excited, but you as the creator, you as the artist, you also have to be excited, right?
Absolutely.
And first of all, donating to Youth on Course, I feel like any amount is an unbelievable amount to donate to anybody. But $13,000 is incredible,
Thank you.
especially for only starting it in June. June on, you
Yeah.
said?
Hmm.
Don't make me do math because it'll be embarrassing, but I feel like that's a pretty good amount for only 6 months.
I think it's a really good amount, and I had no idea or not even a thought of ever getting that high, just starting out the first year. But again, we kind of just got lucky with My Golf Spy, and then also our storytelling videos or reels that we post on IG helps a lot. They're very organic, so Instagram kind of pushes out a reach on that, which helps a lot. But yeah, I'm very grateful for to able to reach that milestone and hoping to create a higher one for the 2026.
I will say a little off topic, but I do love your kind of day in the life videos where it's like
Thank you.
day whatever of starting my own golf company. And I
Yeah,
personally love when people do that. I think it's great because it does kind of give us a little sneak peek behind the scenes.
sure.
Um, we don't look at the podcast as a golf company, which is why we don't do anything like that. I've always thought of it as you and I are gonna have a conversation about golf in your company, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
And I remember the first time we spoke, there was no cameras or nothing. I was on break.
that's right.
Like an hour, I had like an hour lunch break.
Same here.
And that's all it is, right? And I kind of explained it to you. All we're doing is cultivating conversations over here at Safe Par.
Yeah,
And whatever comes from it comes from it. I'm excited to see what's next for you. And I love that you're not sticking with just one glove and that you're gonna kind of build on it and stuff like that. Um, but what we also like to do is kind of get to know Tyler, not just for links. So
yeah,
it's been a while, so I apologize if I'm rusty, but we always do rapid fire questions. That
sure,
is kind of our bread and butter. I have a couple of them off the top of my head ready.
sure. Let's do it.
They're never really rapid, so feel free to take your time. But one of my favorite ones to ask is, what would your walk-up song be?
Walk up song. Ooh,
And mine changes all the time because new music's always coming out. I will say, I think today mine would be,
can I look at my Spotify playlist
yeah,
real
yeah,
quick?
yeah. I
I
think mine
always
would
change.
be like. Excavator by Don Toliver. I think that would be like a killer walk-up song.
Yeah, let's see here. You know what's funny? One thing about me is, I hung out with my dad a lot, growing up, and I still do. And we always listen to his music. So I actually grew up just listening to 80s music, and it's kind of been stuck with me all this time.
So
And I know
so
there's
did
not a
I.
lot.
My dad and
Yeah.
I actually saw Kiss together once.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was Paul. So Paul Stanley took a zip line out to like the crowd, and we were on the floor. And I looked over, and Paul Stanley was like 7 people away from me, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, that's a rock god. Like he's
Yeah,
like that. Like that's him. And then
for
a couple of
sure.
my, and then me and my buddy, we saw. It was like a big. It was like a group of them, but it was Joan Jett,
Nice.
Poison,
Poison.
Motley Crue, and Def Leppard.
That's awesome.
That was pretty cool. But no, so I grew up listening to like the 80s hair metal, the Rat, the stuff like that.
I
And then
love
when it
it.
was with my mom, it was like a mix of like country and R&B. So
Nice.
trust me, you're in good hands.
Yeah, I love 80s music, but if I were to choose a walk-up song right now, I think it would be Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine. I really love that song. It not only gives me goosebumps when I hear it sometimes, but it gives me inspiration when I'm feeling a little down. I play it because, again, I've always had, I feel like everyone has their moments, and obviously everyone has their bad days. And on the bad days, I like to listen to that song to give me that motivation again. And I think it would be that song.
It's a good song.
Yeah,
Um,
Dog Days Are Over.
I've always thought of it as like my walk-up song. It should hype me up.
Yeah,
It should get me ready.
feel some type of
That
way, you know?
that's a great song. I think if I
Yeah.
was gonna flip the script, I'm a huge fan of Prince.
Ooh,
Obviously, being in Minnesota, it hits different because he lived, Minnesota's entire life.
yeah,
My mom and I actually went to Paisley Park where he lived and recorded music and performed, and it gives me goosebumps to think about just what he created there. So I think I would do Musicology by Prince if I wasn't going
nice,
to do something to pump me up. But I love Prince. I love Musicology. That's one of those songs that I think stands the test of time, even though it's one of his quote unquote newer songs.
nice. I think if I had to choose a second, it would be Michael Jackson started something new. It's like, yeah,
Mm,
started something, wanna be started, something like that. I think
that's
that's
a
the
good
title.
one.
That's a good song.
Yeah. I
Mm.
think it's Want to Be Starting Something.
Want to be starting something, yeah. I want to
Yeah.
be starting something, yeah.
No, I think that's a top five Michael song. My favorite one's Weird. I love Dirty Diana. That's like my
Good
favorite
song. Yeah.
MJ song.
Hmm.
I don't know. That one's always stuck with me. Um, and then before we started, we were talking about food because your family
Hmm.
went on this crazy trip that I
Yeah.
would kill for. So
Hmm.
congrats to them. Um, if I'm ever in California, which I'm sure I will be,
Yeah.
kind of walk us through where we'd go for breakfast, lunch, dinner, like your favorite
Ooh,
spots.
breakfast. Um, I think for breakfast, if we were to go together, I'll take you to this dim sum spot in Cupertino, California, which is where the Apple headquarters is. They make a mean shumai, like a really good shumai, which is basically kind of like a shrimp. I think there's pork in there a little bit, but it's like a very soft shrimp dumpling, if I can
Okay.
describe it correctly. But I love that. And my parents, when we go to church Sunday mornings, we usually go somewhere to get breakfast after, and that'll be like for sure one of the spots. Um, for lunch, let me see here. I think for lunch, since you mentioned you love banh mi's, I'm gonna take you to this place called Duk Hung in San Jose. They make really great banh mi's. They've been viral many times on TikTok, and I think the reason why they do so well is because the bread they use is just so homemade and so fresh. People sometimes don't even buy the banh mi, like their meat and all that stuff. They just buy the bread and they go make their own banh mi's at home. So I'll take you there for lunch. And for dinner, I think my favorite spot right now, another dumpling spot, is called XOB Kitchen. My best friend and we go there all the time. We actually just went there 2 days ago, but they just make really good chicken fried rice there. That's one of our favorite dishes. If I had to choose one thing to eat for the rest of my life, I think it would be either fried rice or pizza. I'm a big pizza guy, but I love fried rice, and I just think they make the best fried rice at that place. Songlamao Kitchen, also in Cupertino as well too. But XLB Kitchen is what I'll take you for dinner. Hmm.
So I have friends in San Jose, and I'm sure they're listening. I'm gonna make them go get that banh mi.
Oh yeah.
That way they can send it to me.
Mhm.
I know a handful of guys that would definitely go get it. I love any kind of sandwich.
Oh
So
nice. Me
with
too.
banh mi, it's like they feel light, but they also fill me up. And I don't know if it's like the daikon or like the strip of cucumber they put in with some
Yeah.
of them. I love them. The place I was telling you by me, they do chicken or pork, and the pork is like seasoned so well. Like I'll eat half and then save the other half for later, and then my fridge just
Nice.
smells like it, and then it never gets saved for later because I eat it all. Um,
Yeah,
oh, it
Ben.
makes me want just some like daikon radish. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I mean, if your friends are from San Jose, they for sure have tried, and they like banh mi's. They for sure had Dokung. That's probably one of the hottest banh mi shops in San Jose, if not the hottest shop in San Jose for banh mi's.
I'll make them go, and I'll make them report back. Um,
Yeah.
I'm happy you didn't say like breakfast burritos or something because I was
Oh,
spoiled. In LA, we had Arts Tacos one morning.
sure.
Good God, that's like the best burrito I've ever had, or best breakfast burrito I've ever had. So shout out to the Gulf Arrows for taking me and Surge for paying. That was an unreal breakfast burrito, but I would try all of that stuff that you mentioned. I'm not a
Oh
huge
yeah.
fried rice guy, but I would try it if that's what they're known for.
There are other stuff. They're not really known for fried rice. They're known for their XLBs, which is a soup dumpling.
Sure.
But we come there mainly for the fried rice. We just think it feels light, but it has that nice flavor to it. I don't know. I can't explain it. You have to try it for yourself. But
Okay.
they got a bunch of dishes there too. If you don't like fried, they got noodle dishes. They got a bunch of vegetable options. They got a bunch of soup options, all that stuff. So
That's what I appreciate about like Vietnamese food and Thai
I
food.
agree.
It's not just like one or two things. It's like, hey, you can have this, or you could like get something light like a soup or whatever, and still
Yeah.
be like, wow, this is great. Um,
Mhm.
so you're a couple years younger than me.
Okay.
I say that because I'm always interested in kind of learning, like, was there a certain golf moment or golfer that you watched and was like, I really want to play golf now?
Mm, that's a good one. I think. Well, growing up, just like many others, I love watching Tiger Woods. But if there's a swing I really try to replicate when I was just starting out was Fred Couples.
Mm.
I just love the smoothness of Freddie Couples. But I also looked also over Ernie Els, which is another smooth guy. And if I can be completely honest, and just from this is my opinion, I think Freddie Couples have has a pretty swing, but Ernie Els has a better swing. Because if you look at Ernie's and Freddie kind of goes a little past the line, a little past parallel, has a really big chicken arm on the right arm kind of sticking out. If you look at Ernie, it was kind of more textbook. It's more orthodox. The line is on plane and all that. So I try to copy Freddie's tempo and I try to implement Ernie's playing structure of the swing. And I really look at their game as what I want it to be. But in terms of just motivation and confidence, always over go back to Tiger Woods. Just watch him play the game and just dominate. So I would say, but if I had to choose, my favorite player would be Tiger Woods. That kind of really motivated me to kind of. I was the reason why I only wore Nike when I was just starting out. Like my mom, I would tell my mom like I only wanted to buy Nike socks, Nike polos, and at the time Nordstrom Rack was like where I would go because they had really good discounted Nike golf apparel for kids. And I was really small back then, so I used to fit all those clothes back then. It was really affordable. It was like $10 a polo. So I was just decked out in Nike, and it's because of Tiger. I used to go to school in golf polos, Nike golf polos, wearing a Nike red swoosh polo, and I would just feel so cool about it because that's my hero. That's the guy I like to look at.
I'm thinking back. So Derek and I met in community college. We both are terrible at math. We met in like a super low level math class. Um, and I remember he would come to class in only golf gear too. He'd have like
Nice.
jeans on and then like a polo and then like a quarter zip.
That
And I was like, what the hell is this guy wearing? And then we sat next to each other and it just like clicked.
nice.
Um, so I definitely know what you mean by going to school and the golf stuff because that's what Derek did, and
That's
he
literally
still
me too.
does. He lives in it. Um, my favorite. golfer is and will always be Bubba. I love
Bubba,
Bubba.
Bubba Watson.
There's something about being creative on the golf course and seeing things in such a different way that for me makes me look at golf a different way.
Yeah.
Um, we did an episode and we went over um like different fears we have on the golf course or like mental blocks on the golf course.
Hmm.
Derek hates greenside bunkers. Like that's his thing. If he's in a bunker, I can watch him like short circuit a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't really have like a mental game where like nothing really bothers me. I take a club and go. And I do that because one, I don't want to second guess myself. If I feel like it's a 4 iron, I'm gonna grab my 4 iron type thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But it also makes me kind of go up to the ball and be like, oh wow, this is way too much club. It makes me feel like I can get creative and kind of funky with it and bump
Mhm.
and run. And I I've always enjoyed watching Bubba do that as well. I mean, obviously he's got that historic shot of the Pine
Nice
Straw at the
draw.
Masters.
Yeah. I saw that
Who
live
hit
actually
who hits a duck hook like
with a
that?
wedge. With a wedge.
Yeah, out of the woods. Like who does that? And for me, that's always kind of been my mindset on the course is, okay, I can do it this way, or I can be a little funky with it and see what happens. And you know, sometimes it works, and sometimes it's like just catastrophically bad.
Yeah.
But that's okay, right? It's a game.
That's right. I agree. Um, yeah. Bubba Watson is a very unique and talented player. And again, like I said, I remember watching that shot on the 10th hole on the first playoff hole, I believe, or maybe it was second. I was like, whoa, what the with the wedge too, which is crazy because I even try to do a hook with the wedge, like just some crazy thing. I just end up just pulling the thing out of his. I don't know how you just made it turn like that. It's just insane.
So
So
my natural shot is like a duck hook, right? I think I
Mhm.
could do it if I just swung normally and not like when I first started playing, and even now I have such a bad slice from my years of baseball.
Yeah,
Um, that watching him hit that, it's almost like watching me hit a ball without doing anything with like my hands or wrists, like making it like a stronger grip. If I was
yeah,
just do like a normal grip for me, it's gonna do that.
yeah.
I don't think I could do that on purpose though. I think if
No,
I tried it is when I would hit the ball straight, which would be
yeah,
my issue. But um I watching that even to this day, I'm still in awe of him deciding to do that on a playoff hole
mhm,
and knowing that he could lose his green jacket. Like
yeah,
it's one of those things where, yeah, like Tiger, his mentality is the same as Kobe. Kobe's mentality was, hey, like job's not done. We're here until the job's done.
yeah,
But watching Bubba do that without any like regard for like, hey, I'm gonna lose.
yeah,
I think it's one of those like sports moments where you're just like, my God, like he did it and he had the confidence to do it. And that's always
yeah.
stuck with me. So I love Bubba. I think his game is crazy, even though he's on live. I mean, I still think he has a lot of great golf, but
Hmm.
it's crazy. And he's self-taught. It's ridiculous.
I think that's the most ridiculous part is that he's a self-taught player and he's a two-time major champion, and two of them are from the Masters, which is one of the most pristine majors that anyone would dream of winning. So,
Yeah.
it's crazy what he's accomplished.
Oh, I mean, I think he said it. He's just some country kid from Florida.
Yeah, I think he really is. And then, but that doesn't mean that you can't have big dreams like he has, and that you can
Exactly.
achieve them.
No, it's great. But I think our time's up. We had a great conversation.
Yeah,
Um, I'm so excited for Forelinks, and I'm
thank
honestly
you,
so
man.
excited to record more podcasts. Um, but that's not about you. I am. I mean, the gloves are great. I'm excited
Thank
for
you.
the next one to come out, and I'm
Yeah,
excited to see what else your brain comes up with.
yeah.
Um, but let me tell you, this leather as a head cover would be unreal.
Ooh, I never
I'm
even thought
not
about that.
I'm not trying to push you anywhere, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of head covers that are leather that
Hmm.
suck and that don't form to your club and don't do anything.
Very stiff.
This as
Yeah.
a head cover would be unreal.
I never thought about that. I should definitely see what I can. sample with at least to begin with,
Yeah.
and then see where it can go from there. But that'd
Don't
be really
know
cool.
don't know what it would take. I don't
Yeah,
know how things happen, but you
yeah,
kind of mentioned it. You're like, I don't know if I should do head covers or apparel.
yeah.
If you could do that as a head cover, and as the sun wears it, it forms your club, and it'll age depending on people's hands, and it'll
Mhm.
patina just like a leather wallet.
Yeah.
That would be sweet. Just throwing that little nugget out there for you, and that's
Definitely an
free. I'm not going
idea.
to charge you for that.
Definitely an idea though, Dom. I'll definitely have to take a look to see that's anything possible to do, which I'm pretty sure is. Nothing's impossible. So
No, if there's a will is a way, right? Like you
there
went to
is.
Indonesia to make this happen, and here we are.
That's a good one. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You can do it. But thank you for your time. Thank you for teaching us all about four links. Um, I'm excited to see what the future is. I'm excited to go outside and actually play in the glove when it warms up. I'll
For
probably
sure.
tag you in videos when
Thank
I
you.
do go play. Um, it's just like there's snow outside, and the courses, like I said, probably won't be open until May.
Yeah, I can't blame you on that, or I can't. There's no excuses on that. So yeah, we'll just have to be patient here. And again, really appreciate you getting me on the show. I had a great time chatting with you again, and hopefully, if you're down in San Jose, I'd love to take you out to those three spots for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and get your honest take on it.
I love NorCal. I love NorCal. I love my friends in NorCal. I love SoCal too. So the SoCal people, don't yell at
Yeah,
me. I loved NorCal though. Chances are I'll be there. And when I'm there, I'll let you know. We can go get a banh mi or whatever.
absolutely. Be sure to hit me up for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. All right, um, again, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your week.
absolutely. Thank you. You as well.
Appreciate it. Talk to you later.